Good morning to you. Happy Cinco de Mayo. That's right. It is the 5th of May. Glad to have you with us on Up to the Minute. I'm Todd Duplantis, and we've got your HCC news and information and some very special guests for the next half hour. We got a great show lined up for you. Stick around, grab a cup of coffee. We'll be here for till about 10:30 or so. Brittany Pacheco, she's here right now from her home studio. Good morning, Brittany. You got any big plans for Cinco de Mayo?
Not particularly. Why you got to assume? No, I'm just kidding.
You and tequila go, that's like your spirit and your spirit.
It actually is not. No, can't handle that solo. Mixed with something, absolutely.
Okay.
So no, it's going to be crazy out there. I mean, everyone's going to want to celebrate, Mexican Independence Day. Everyone, it's not. That's not until September. Cinco de Mayo is Battle of Puebla. Just saying. Okay. So you have your little history lesson for today, but we're going to get into today's show. But before we do, be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can check out lots of other shows that we've got there. The Topic, Global Outlook, Veterans Voice, lots of other things. Also, don't forget to share this podcast so that we can grow our audience, and we need your help, audience, to make that happen. So click that share button at the bottom of this podcast. And Todd, let's get into today's show.
All right, Brittany, stick around. We'll check in with you later on. And we've got some guests on the show. One of them here twice a month talking about fitness, running. He's a former HCC graduate. He's now in the San Francisco area. Doc on the Run. Dr. Christopher Segler is joining us this morning. Hey, Chris, good to see you.
Hey, Todd. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to talk running, maybe hiking, and some injuries you may want to avoid, and also some exercises on how to avoid them.
Yeah. One of the things that I do a lot is I do telemedicine calls with injured athletes of all kinds, and hiking and running, although we often think of them as different activities, one thing that they do have in common is that, when you're getting to the end of your long workouts, whether that's a long hike with a backpack or a long series of hill repeats or something, training for an outing, or if you're at the end of a really long run at Memorial Park or along the bayou and you get exhausted, you start to load things in a way that's not really natural and puts you at risk of injury. And when you're wobbling a little bit, you start to lose your balance. And that's when you actually load these little small muscles and tendons in a way that injures them. And that's easy to address.
Well, we're going to talk about that. And I've got a bit of a running injury that's happening now. So I want to talk to you about that too. So stick. All right. Let's see here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll get back to you guys shortly. We'll back to you very shortly, Chris. Okay. Let's get moving into our first guest on the show. And he is from Flippin' Patties. We've got Don Jante. And Don, you are the chef and co-owner of Flippin' Patties Filipino restaurant. Welcome to the show, number one. Very familiar with your food truck, but you guys have expanded from food truck to a number of brick and mortars. Congratulations on that. Maybe you can tell us about the concept of the restaurant.
Thank you so much. So yeah, we started as a food truck 2012, and we opened up a couple of years ago here in Eldridge location, and then we also opened up an understory. So yeah, we're trucking along.
Now tell us, when you opened, you worked with your cousin Michael, and you wanted to marry the cultures of something all Americans could understand, which we all love, hamburgers, and you wanted to marry that with Filipino food. Tell us, what was the response? Because it seemed like your truck was very popular.
The response was great, actually. It was a good bridge between Filipino flavors and American culture. So it was nice.
Tell us about, is there one burger called the Jeepney Burger?
There is, the Jeepney Burger. It has our in-house longanisa, with our akuishi beef. We get the heart branch. And yeah, and our steamed bun. So we are the first official steamed bun hamburgers, I think, in the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with steam bun hamburgers because they're popular like in other places in the South. I know there's a place called Crystal, and they make their burgers and they steam the buns as well. They're popular.
Really?
You guys do that as well. Let's talk about what you're going to make for us today, and then I've got a few more questions, but what exactly are you going to make for us today?
Today, we're going to make a wet burger. Yeah, it's sort of like chopped Filipino barbecue on top of our agushi beef, sauteed onions, and provolone cheese.
And before you get started, what is it akushi beef? What exactly is it?
That's Texas Wagyu. So
Okay.
it's a certain cow that got imported from Japan, and it made its way to Texas.
Is the meat more marbled than regular meat?
It is. It's a lot more healthier option, but it has a lot of margin. Has a lot of health conscious benefits.
All right. Well, let's get started with the burger. Maybe you can tell us what you got there. Gather your ingredients and get started on that, and we'll get on with checking it out.
All right. So we got, of course, our steam bun. I'm interested to hear about this crystal.
Oh, you not heard of Crystal? Okay, well, we got Chris Segler on. You see, Chris is from the Chattanooga area. I just happen to be married to his wife, or to his not. Well, that would be weird. I'm married to his sister. So Chris's sister is my wife. So she's from Chattanooga. We go back there all the time. They make these burgers, which I guess originate in the Chattanooga area, and they're pretty small. They're pretty small burgers, kind of like White Castle in a way. But they steam the bun, they steam the burger, and you buy them by the bag. They're incredible.
Okay, nice.
So they're all over the South if you get a chance. But let's tell us about what you got with your burger there.
All right, so we got the smoked pork butt, a little bit like Filipino barbecue. We have the sauteed onions, and we have our agushi beef.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to cook a burger.
So you grill all your burgers on yourselves, you in the way you're doing now, like in a griddle?
Yes. Well, we do it on a flat top, actually.
Okay, on a flat top. All right.
On a flat top. We usually ask our customers how they like it cooked. I think medium is the most popular option.
Yeah.
And then we season it with sea salt and seasoned salt.
I'm glad you ask people how they like their burgers cooked, because there's nothing worse than going to a place and getting a burger that's just overdone. I like my burger really a little bit of medium rare. That's kind of, I'm more that way. And I imagine with the fresh beef you guys have there, I definitely would want to go medium rare.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you got the burger going. What else you put on it?
We put a little unicorn juice, which is a little bit of Worcestershire and liquid smoke.
And that goes on the burger while it's cooking, right?
Yes, sir. And we kind of sear it, add a little bit more unicorn tears. Then we'll go ahead and caramelize all the smoked pork butt, sauteed onions.
And while you're doing that, I want to ask you, you've got something else you serve. It's a famous toasted garlic rice dish. That sounds pretty good.
Yes. So all of our rice plates come with our garlic rice, 2 of our flip rolls that we make in-house, and different types of protein.
And there's that
number one
in Filipino diet, obviously with rice, but that type of rice?
Yeah, it's actually like garlic rice is our breakfast food. Yeah, we take it's old rice, and then we just freshen it up with some garlic salt.
That looks pretty good. All right. So you take it, you put it, you got the burger going, you got it on the bun. And what's the key ingredient there? Because you also put some barbecue on that as well?
Yeah. So we make a in-house barbecue sauce. Kind of a recipe I got from a lot of uncles, aunts, and made our own Filipino barbecue sauce that we use for caramelization.
How does Filipino barbecue sauce differ from Texas barbecue sauce?
Texas? Different? I think it's a little bit more sweeter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a touch more sweeter.
All right. So you got that going, and then how popular is this burger? Is it your most popular one? Because I'm looking at something here. It says you guys have something called a hollow burger.
Oh, hollow is actually our dessert.
Oh, it's dessert. All right.
Yeah.
I guess that wouldn't be put on a burger, but what is hollow?
So hollows are shaved ice. It's, I think, the most popular Filipino dessert. Shaved ice.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it differently, but here we put coconut jelly, sugar palm, coconut strings.
Cool.
A lot of red mung beans, vanilla ice cream, ube ice cream, condensed milk.
Well, we're about to run out of time. Maybe you can take it and put it together so we can see what the thing looks like. It looks delicious. I wish we were there to smell it. Brittany wishes she was there to eat it after you're done. We all do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say my dad, when he was in the Navy, he was stationed in Manila. So I was gonna ask you, Don, if with Filipino food, I guess the question is it based on region, different flavors, different, things like that? Yeah.
So let's say they have a dish called adobo, and in different regions, some people like it sweet, and then some people like it vinegary. So the palates in Philippines are usually vinegary or sweet or spicy.
Do you have adobo on your menu there, Don?
We have adobo flavor, but not the traditional.
Okay, so you have.
So let's say people want to order chicken wings, or a rice plate with adobo. I mean, they can do it, but it's not the traditional Filipino.
Right.
And tell us one more time where you're located.
We got 2 locations. One on 1809 Eldridge Parkway, and near the Energy Corridor, and we have one in downtown, understory building. Capital 800 Capital. It's inside the tunnel, actually. Yeah.
Very cool. And once again, let's see the burger. And what is it called?
So this is the Puwet Burger, and there it is. We'll see all of y'all later today.
Absolutely. That looks incredible. Don Jante with us, helping us celebrate AAPI, of course, which is Asian American and Pacific Islander Month here all throughout the month of May. And we'll be featuring a number of restaurants as we celebrate this month. Don, thanks for joining us. Continued success with Flippin' Patties, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank y'all so much for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Stay blessed.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Dr. Christopher Segler, and I want to clarify, I'm not married to your wife. That would be totally weird. I'm married to your sister.
I was going to make an important clarification on that. Just because you're born in Tennessee, it does not mean that you're required to marry your sister. So a lot of people misunderstand that. But I'll tell you a funny joke too. Do you know why we know that the toothbrush was invented in Tennessee?
Oh boy, here we go. Why is that?
Invented anywhere else, it would have been called the teeth brush. All right. Anyway.
All right. We're on to, we're just zooming along. The show just went out the window. It's only 10:13. And thank you, folks. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Dr. Christopher Segler. Yeah, he's a former HCC graduate. He lives out in the San Francisco area, and he's here twice a month to talk about fitness, exercising, and mainly getting out and running. He's called Doc on the Run. And Chris, you were talking at the top of the show about some issues with running that you may experience. Is it a problem for hikers and runners or just runners?
Yeah, it's actually the same problem. We just always think of these activities as being different. And because we think of them as different activities, we think we'll get different stresses and strains. But, most of the people, when we get injured, whether you're a hiker or a runner, it's at the end of the day, at the end of one of your long workouts, at the end of a hard session. And, it's something to think about. There was a study many years ago of injured skiers, and what they did was they went around to all the sort of first aid stations, in the bottom of the ski resorts at the base of the mountains, and they did a survey. And what they found was that, a huge proportion, like 80-something% of skiers who actually got injured on what they had already decided was going to be the last run of the day. And what that means is that, you're tired and you're ready to go, and you say, oh, let's just go one more time and then we'll go have dinner. And you're already tired. You should leave right then. But, when a lift ticket's $150, you want to get your money's worth. So you go up and do it one more time. And then, you hit a bump, you're weak, you're unstable because you're tired, and you get off balance and you hurt yourself. And the same thing actually happens when you're running or when you're hiking. So if you're running and your form starts to fall apart, you actually wobble a bit more, and you load these structures in a way that they're not really used to. And they're generally smaller, less trained structures because you don't do that all the time. Yeah. And the same thing in hiking, you're carrying a heavy pack, you're tired, and you step across a rock or a root or something that puts you in a little bit different position, and you overload something and you get injured. So the idea is that what you can do is do some simple exercises that we know actually kind of train those muscle groups that you don't use when you go out and just run 5 miles or 10 miles or something. And if you make those little muscles that are very poorly trained and you just strengthen them a little bit, percentage wise, you actually get a huge improvement in strength of those specific muscles, and that reduces your risk of injury.
And the 3 exercises that you can do, they're simple exercises. Maybe you can go through those real quickly.
They're very simple. And these are actually exercises that I teach to physicians when I lecture at medical conferences on reducing the risk of injuries in runners. And the reason I picked these 3 is that they're ones that we as physicians commonly use to assess your risk of re-injury as an athlete. And so the doctors are all familiar with them. They just think of them as tests and they don't think of them as exercises. But what I do when I do telemedicine visits, I give people these exercises as they're recovering to actually strengthen those things so they don't get re-injured when they go out for a run. So the first one is very simple. This is the single leg balance test. And when a doctor does this with you in the office to see how stable you are, you literally stand with your arms stretched out, you stand on one foot, and then after you get your balance, you just close your eyes and you see how stable you are. And so it looks like a roadside, drunk driving test, basically. Yeah. But it's a very effective way to figure out how stable you are and how much you can feel your positioning in space. And that's very important because when you're hiking or you're running and you're paying attention to other things, that's when you get off balance. So if you find that one foot is unstable and you're not able to balance, but a split second, then if you just stand and you actually practice balancing on one foot, it will actually improve your stability quite a bit. The second one is single leg exercise as well. And this is a single leg squat. The way that I do it is I basically take 2 empty water bottles and have you put them down on the floor about, shoulder width apart. And then you put your foot in between the 2 water bottles and you literally just stand on one foot and you bend down and just try to pick up the water bottles, stand all the way back up and put them down on the ground again. This exercise specifically strengthens glute muscles that help you maintain balance when you're getting exhausted. And what's really interesting is that many people, even those that are really, really fit runners, they'll do this and they'll do maybe, 20 reps on each leg or something. And then your butt's actually sore for a couple of days, which just gives you a good indication of how weak those muscles actually are. And you just wouldn't think of them as being weak because you're running all the time.
Right.
Now, the third one sounds complicated, but it's not. It's this test that we do called a STAR Excursion balance test. And what it is, and you can do it in your garage, but what you do is you take 4 pieces of tape, like 6 feet long, and you just set them on the floor so it makes a star, right? All at 45 degrees to each other, but it's really just 4 pieces of long masking tape. And you stand at the center. And then what you do is you take your foot while you're standing on one foot in the center and you just try to reach out and see how far you can reach and touch the tape. So you reach out and you touch the tape and you have to just touch it with your toe. You're not supposed to reach out and, put your foot down so that you have to start all over. You're supposed to just see how far you can reach. And you touch all the places and then we measure those distances. Now, it seems a little silly, but it's very awkward and it's hard to do actually. And what's really interesting is there's some studies that show that with the 2 things that we measure, like how far it is you can reach out in front of you, right versus left, and what your composite reach distance is, there are 2 very important measures. One of them is the difference between the front and the back, and then how far it is compared to your limb length. And if you actually are more than 4 centimeters different on your right versus your left, you're actually 2.5 times more likely to get injured.
Oh, wow.
And if you measure your limb length and your limb length is you can't reach 95% of your limb length, you're 6.5 times more likely to get injured. Now, 6.5 times is a lot, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if somebody said, well, you're 6.5 times more likely to get in a fatal car crash if you went 75 miles an hour instead of 70 miles an hour, I bet that would really, change a lot of people's driving habits. But 6.5 times more likely to get an injury is a huge difference. And so these are very, very simple things that you can do, literally in a few minutes a day that give you, with a very small effort, a very big gain in terms of your overall strength to help you avoid these kind of injuries.
So I want to ask you because, I try to run 5 to 7 times a week. And you had even told me years ago as some advice, run, when I said, should you run every day? And you said, run till your body tells you really shouldn't. If you feel like running every day, run every day. But if your body's telling you no, rest. So I do that. But what I've noticed, I've got this issue above my quad, and it stretches up all the way to on the front to my hip bone. And it's a burning sensation on my right leg. And it happened about 2 weeks ago, didn't happen last week, and it started up a day and a half ago. What do you think I should do there?
Well, you have to address it. So the thing is that I get these calls all the time where people say, I have this issue. Can I run? Like, we can do anything you want. You can drive your car without oil in it if you want to. I'm not your mechanic. And I'm not your accountant. So if you want to spend $10,000 on a new motor, go right ahead. So the thing is that any issue you have that you ignore and you continue to do the same aggravating activity, it is obvious that it is going to make it worse, right? So when you have burning pain, what that usually suggests is a nerve issue. Now, and believe it or not, when you go to the doctor and they ask you all these questions, like, is it burning, tingling, radiating, throbbing, sharp, dull, aching? Does it feel numb-ish? And you think, why is he asking me all these questions? And there is a reason for that. And the character of the pain often points to what the issue actually is. And when you have burning pain, radiating pain, or tingling pain, something that actually feels like it's in one place, but it kind of shoots or moves toward another area, that's almost always nerve pain. Right. And so in that case, a lot of times what can happen is that, you can have a nerve that exits an area between two muscles where it goes from deep to superficial toward the skin. And where it exits, if it's getting constricted by muscles that are inflamed or irritated, then it can cause that problem. Like sciatica is probably the most common of all these, where, the nerve goes across the back and comes down toward your leg, and where it goes through the muscle layers. And if those muscles get overtrained or tight or knotted and they compress the sciatic nerve, it causes sciatica. Then you get a similar issue on the back. So, you obviously have to address it. And the thing is like most people just think, okay, well, how do I address it? Do I just run every other day instead of 5 or 7 days a week? Well, you could do that. That's a simple thing. So if you tried that and it miraculously disappeared, then I'd probably lower my, number of days running for a period of time until it kind of calms down. But one of the bad things about nerve issues is that sometimes they don't calm down very quickly. And so, the progress may be so slow with minor interventions like changing your activity that sometimes when we back off and you run every other day for 2 weeks and it's maybe getting better, but you haven't actually recognized that it's getting better because it's going slowly, then you kind of abandon that therapy because you think, man, this is a drag. I'm not even running every day and it doesn't seem like this is getting any better. So then you just go back to running every day. And that's a very common thing that we as runners do.
Yeah, I can see that. So really, it sounds like rest is the best key right now.
Well, it's an easy, simple, free strategy. Let's put it that way. So I'm not really a proponent of strict rest for runners just to see what happens because you start losing your fitness very, very rapidly. But having said that, I will say that in many cases, like literally just, 2 days of rest, of not running, of doing something else instead, maybe going to the gym and lifting weights, but just not running for a couple of days, sometimes that actually fixes these things. So if you're kind of on that verge of developing a true overtraining injury and it's just a little aggravated, sometimes just 1 or 2 days off can make a tremendous difference.
Some good advice, Dr. Christopher Segler. Next time, what are you going to be talking to us about?
Yeah, that's a good question. So next time what we're going to talk about is actually the three, what I see at least as the three most preventable causes of running injuries. Just like your situation, if there was maybe something you could have done a month ago that would have taken 2 or 3 minutes a day as an exercise to prevent this injury, you'd probably definitely go back and do it now if you could. Absolutely. And so although, I really don't like preventative things myself, truthfully, like I don't like doing preventative exercises, there is something to it. And if you know those injuries that are, really preventable, I think it's a way to, really move forward and run a lot more without getting yourself into trouble where you really have to take time off.
Dr. Christopher Segler, he's known as Doc on the Run. He's a former HCC student, graduate, living out in the San Francisco area. We will check in with you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for being here.
All right. Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. And we'll have more information on what he was talking about, if you can get to write it down, in our social media post for the show, a link where you can go. All right, Brittany, information for today. Things people need to know on this Cinco de Mayo, starting off with Finals Mania.
Yeah, finals are just right around the corner. I actually took one last night and made 100. Hey.
All right. Hey.
So for Finals Mania, you can join this Zoom interactive session with study rooms designed to connect you with your peers, as well as stress relief sessions if needed. Now that's going on tomorrow, May 6th, that's Thursday, from 2 to 3 p.m. We're going to put a link in the post after this show, as well as the contact email if you're interested.
All right. Honors recital, we're doing that online, of course, because of, the thing that's going on called the pandemic. Anyway, it's dying down. We're doing something online so all of you can see it. System-wide concert represents the best of the best in HCC's music program with student performances in voice, piano, and saxophone. Check them out, 7:30 p.m. Thursday, May the 6th. A viewing link will be provided when available. For more information, you can email Joel Love, and we'll have his email address in our social media post. Smoke-free quit kits deadline is tomorrow, Brittany.
Yeah, so you only have one more day to get your HCC smoke-free quit kit. And as Todd mentioned, the deadline's tomorrow. So that's Thursday, May 6th. You can sign up still for the time being, but smoking actually helps. Not helps, doesn't help anything. Smoking actually puts stress on the body. So you can sign up to get your quit kit to help de-stress while supplies last. It includes a stress reliever ball and essential oil. Now you can also learn more about prizes and et cetera. You can email the Student Life. We'll put that email in the post after the show. Or you can go to the Eagle Experience page, which again, we'll put that link in the post after this show.
Student works, let me go to getting ready to graduate. We want to remind you folks, if you're graduating, you took out some student loans, you're going to have to pay those back someday. If you're not going to another college, it may be sooner rather than later. We want to help you prepare for that. Go to HCC's district Facebook page and check out the resources. We'll have a link after this show. We want to send you to financial aid. They'll talk to you, get a financial plan available for you so that you're ready when you have to repay. And I just want to mention, Brittany, real quickly, student work study. We talked about that on the topic this week. Tune into that show. But they're looking for work study programs. This is a way of helping you make some money while you're going to school through the financial aid program. And these are grants. You don't have to pay them back. So it'll be worked out. We'll have a link for the work study program in the social media post. Engineering is hot in Houston, Brittany.
Of course, we've got the energy corridor here. So Houston is one of the largest employers of engineers in the world, and HCC is partnering with UT Tyler, Texas A&M, Chevron, and we also have our U of H HCC Engineering Academy to create opportunities to become an engineer at half the cost. Yeah, that's incredible to me.
It's a great deal. It really
is. So
is.
we do have information sessions that cover requirements, courses, deadlines, and also how to apply. We've got 2 that are coming up that will happen today, one today at 6 p.m. And then next Wednesday, May 12th at 8 p.m., we'll put the link in the post after the show to register.
All right, registration's now open for the summer and the fall, folks. Make sure you get on board to register early. Go to hccs.edu/now to register. We have 5 ways that you can attend classes, from fully online to hybrid, which is a little bit of online and some face-to-face instruction in labs. And we have in-person classes starting this summer and definitely in the fall. There'll be smaller classes, so you need to sign up early to get the class you want, the time you want, the professor you want. Get it out of the way. Go to hccs.edu/now and explore your options, but most importantly, register. Tomorrow on the show, Brittany, hey, it's Thursday, which is one of your favorite days of the week next to Friday.
Yes, it's a virtual family fun day. So that helps, with the whole day 4 of hostage situation. But we're going to spotlight the art car experience, as it is called this year, and feature HCC's contribution to it. So joining us will be 2 HCC faculty members who had a hand in it. Also, we're going to be joined by Jordan Carswell, who's the interim director of the West Houston Institute, and he'll tell us how the Makerspace have played a role in all of this. And Dr. Colleen Riley, Dean of the Visual and Performing Arts Center of Excellence, will offer an artistic perspective to HCC's art car.
Yeah, I mean, this art car was a true collaboration across all the programs at the college. They had engineers working on this. They had, welders working on it, people from the science department, people from the arts and the art department as well. I mean, it was an incredible experience. So we'll hear more about how they did it, and you'll get to see their product tomorrow on the show. So that'll be exciting. All right, Brittany, that's going to wrap it up for today. You'll be back tomorrow.
I will be back tomorrow. And thank you for everyone joining us this morning for today's Up to the Minute. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.